Welcome, traveler. This video is going to be a quick one just to talk about my current to be read list. Now, my list keeps changing quite a lot, but recently I decided, again, I think I mentioned this in one of the other videos about choosing really short books, easy to read books for that sense of accomplishment. So this is what I've done, and so far it's been working. So let me show you what I've read so far and what I'm going to keep reading. The first book that I've read in my newest to be read list is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. Now this has been amazing. Look how small it is. It's about 150 pages or so, and this was brilliant. I had no idea who James Baldwin was, and when I was with my partner, we were walking around my hometown of St. Paul de Vence, and there was an exhibition, a museum exhibition of James Baldwin, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's James Baldwin, there's a thing." And I said, "Who?" And she said, "He lived in St. Paul de Vence for many years and was a famous writer there." So we got the book, and I was looking for short things to read. Pick this up. This is amazing. His lyricism and his prose and the pacing of the story is absolutely amazing. Quick description: it's about an American who travels to France, goes to Paris, has a bit of a complicated relationship with this girl who goes to Barcelona, and it's there where he meets Giovanni, and he begins to explore his own sexuality or repressed sexuality from an experience he had when he was younger, and it's absolutely incredible. It really feels like if you've ever been in love, that sort of whirlwind first romance. He really captures the idea, the unexplored and the dangerous and the wonderful. So really fantastic read and very, very easy to read. The next one, as I have made a video on it already, is Stephen King's On Writing. And this one is super easy to read as well. If you want to have a review of that, please check out my other video, wherever that might be. But again, really easy to read. His writing sounds like being with a friend, just talking to you, having a bit of a laugh. You can imagine, sitting down, having a drink, having a chat with someone, although he doesn't drink anymore because he had problems. So really, really good, really easy to read. The next book that I decided to throw in the mix was one that I found in FOP, which is sort of like HMV, and they have discounted books. But it was Why I Write by George Orwell, and I thought, wow, look how thin this is. This makes sense. But it's a collection of essays, and the only one that's about why I write is about 10 pages. And the rest of it is this political thing about what does it mean to be British and European conflicts. I had to put it down. So that, I'm going to say, sort of half read. Sad times. The next one that was on my list, oh no, a lot of editing. Another book that I decided to throw in the mix was a book that was recommended to me by a friend who had read my first 2 chapters, and I asked the question, is it grimdark? How gritty is it? And they said, well, according to what I read, it's not that gritty. To which I asked the question, what do you read? And so they suggested Lapnova by a person's name I'm going to mess up. Ottessa Moshfegh? You know it, I can pronounce names. Which is a gritty medieval story which really feels modern. It's written in a really modern way. I'm already on page about 60 odd. Super easy to read, but it's what's the word? What's that word? Visceral, uncomfortable. I mean, I kind of love it. It's gross. So I'm gonna finish this. Again, 300 pages, really easy to read, spaced really wide. So I'm going to blast through this, and again, I'm going to add that. And also, this is going to be inspiration for how I can make my story more disgusting. We all love a bit of grimdark, do we? I do anyway, and I want to make my story grittier. Yeah. The next book I was going to read was Albert Camus, The Outsider. And I started reading this and I loved again the prose. Look how small it is. It's a classic. It's about 100 or so pages. I stopped reading it though for one reason and one reason only. He's a French author and I thought I should read the original. So a friend lent me his version. And we spoke about it the other day, and just to read the first line is absolutely gorgeous. Aujourd'hui, maman est morte. Ou peut-être hier, je ne sais pas. J'ai reçu un télégramme de l'asile. Mère décédée. Enterrement demain. Sentiment distingué. Cela ne veut rien dire. C'était peut-être hier. And again, just the detachment from this narrator from his mother's death. Powerful stuff. What a brilliant opening. Again, I've used a little bit of inspiration from that. So I'm going to read that. I'm going to read it in French. Hopefully I don't get too bogged down. Another book that I've really wanted to read was Roadside Picnic by the brothers Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. I know about this from several sources. Now, a long time ago, I picked up a game called Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl, a first-person shooter, sort of a role-playing game where you are a scavenger who's sent into the fallout of the Chernobyl disaster, and there are strange anomalies that the radioactivity has created. So really great game. And one of my friends had said that there was a film called Roadside Picnic, which was created from the book called Roadside Picnic. But this one, I read about two pages or so. There's aliens involved, and I think the aliens have landed. They sort of hung around Earth, and then they left, leaving sort of their junk. I think the idea comes from when people have a picnic in the wilderness, we leave our Coke cans and our crisp packets and our tin foil and plastic bottles. Really want to read this, you know, a bit of Russian sci-fi, like Metro. Goes a long way. Another book that I have had on my reading list for ages, which I might again bump down, but it's called We Ride the Storm by Devin Madson. The story behind picking this up, I went to Edinburgh in Scotland, and there was this sci-fi fantasy bookshop, which I loved. So I went in and, you know, I didn't know what to do. I was overwhelmed. So I went to the guy who owns and runs the shop, and I said, give me the grittiest, most grimdark book. And he said, well, that's quite difficult. And the ones that he wanted to recommend, he didn't have in the shop at the moment. So he said, this one comes close. The one thing I have to show, literally the fourth word, is typoed. Can you see the word kill with 2 eyes? I love a typo. It makes me sad, but I do love seeing them. Another one I think I've mentioned before in one of my first videos is 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome. This was, again, one of my father's favorite stories. He said he laughed out loud. It's short and it's a classic. It's meant to be really funny. So, gonna do this, you know, obviously pay some respect to my dad as well. Another one on my list is not the entire thing, but Book of the New Sun. There are 2 books in here. Shadow the Torturer comes in about 300 pages, so again, it's going to be a little bit chunkier. I've wanted to read this. This is also ranks as some of the best grimdark, so I really want to read this. I have a funny feeling it's going to be quite similar to Glenn Cook's Black Company series, quite gritty, but I'm really excited to see a little bit, maybe sort of like Sword and Sorcery. Don't know. The last one on my short book reads, the ones that I'm going to sort of tick off, is Margaret Atwood's A Handmaid's Tale. Again, a classic. I know there was a TV show that was made as well. This is just under, I don't know, it's just about 300 pages. And again, it's sort of modern sci-fi, so it should be pretty good. And also there's some grim and gritty themes within it. So that should be quite exciting. Let me know if you have any books that you think I should read that are short, that I can probably blast through in ideally a week, maybe 3, because I'm a slow reader. But let me know what your short lists are. Any books you can recommend, I will happily look into, potentially read, and do a little review on them. I don't want this channel to just become book reviews, but so far it's easy, and yeah, I kind of like it, like talking about books. But at some point soon, I think I might do some reading of my own stuff, see what you guys like. Maybe talking about editing, because I can talk to you about how many times I've edited my first opening in my story. Until the next time, safe travels. Don't get eaten by a bear or kidnapped by aliens. But if you do, let me know how it goes.